For Mary Jane, I'm Adrian Nunez. Today we're in the Lower East Side checking out Procell, one of the premier vintage shops in New York City. Procell first opened its doors in 2007 and quickly became notorious for its carefully curated collection of vintage clothing. Owner Brian Procell treats his shop like a museum, and his eclectic collection of artifacts runs a spectrum of stylistic subcultures. Its wise clientele includes celebrities like Drake, Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, and just about every cool kid you've seen on the internet. But today, Brian's going to show us his incredibly rare stock of stoner tees. Let's check out what he's got. So we're here with vintage god Brian Procell, and to get started, Brian, let's talk about when you started collecting vintage and why.
Well, I've always been into weird clothing and interesting clothing, but one thing is I'm not necessarily a collector. I'm more of a dealer. So I feel like a lot of people are always like, dude, you're the ill collector. And I'm like, before we get started with that, let me let you know that we gotta flip shit. So like at any moment, the collection looks one way, and then the next week, because of the nature of dealing, it'll change, you know? But I've been doing it professionally for at least 10 years.
So what do you think is the connection between weed and fashion?
Well, let's just say that where the designer has artistic liberty in weed clothing, like they can go off when it comes to illustration, composition, color palette, and it just basically is so synonymous with a subculture or a counterculture that there is a lot of appeal there. And I know for a fact that Runway has referenced it before, and if Runway embraces it, then it pretty much trickles down from there. But think about all of the music videos that we grew up with, all of the great album artwork, and all of the amazing cult classics and movies that we love. At some point, weed apparel or cannabis culture apparel is referenced in them. And that always has a really, really large impact on trend and fashion.
So quickly, let's just break down, of all this magical stoner merch that you have, some of your favorites. Let's go. Definitely the black.
The Blackwoods, it's so good. Whenever you see this much work put into a parody, or let's just call this an homage.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. The sack shorts, so good. A+ illustration, great use of text.
So much detail.
So much information. One of my all-time favorites. Beautiful homage to the Grateful Dead in the form of Grateful Dread.
Yeah.
Really, really awesome guy. Really cool. See him smoking a nice joint. Mom and pop, presumably a mom and pop smoke shop called Holy Smoke that was making really, really rad t-shirts from what seems to be in the 1980s, based on the shirt that they decided to print on and tie-dye. A grail in promotional items.
This is a grail. We need to bring back promotional items, even though we shouldn't promote tobacco use for children, but shit like this,
it's so awesome.
You need it.
We can see here in very, very small fine print that this shirt is from 1995.
White owl. The white owl, though. The white owl on the shirt. And how much would something like this go for?
Well, here's the thing. If it were common, you'd be able to see what shirts like this have sold for in the past.
So you're basically.
But when you're the only one
yeah.
who has it, you name your price,
right?
And it all really depends on who you're selling it to and what they're willing to pay, and that'll determine, or that'll set the price for the future. For all the Marvel heads out there, yeah. Here's your grail. We have X-Mon.
X-Mon.
So cool. And come on, I mean,
what's his power? We don't know. And last but not least, should always love your country and fear your government.
Come on, people.
Let's decriminalize. Come on.
Do it today.
How long do you think it's going to take before we finally legalize marijuana?
It's not far. I mean, we're well on our way. I mean, we are, as a people, way more enlightened than we used to be.
Definitely.
And I just see that there's a lot of, there's just so much potential. And if you want to see a vibrant community and with a booming economy, then vote for the decriminalization of marijuana today.
And then we could have more sick stoner merch like what you showed us. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.